Before I start the video, as a quick reminder, check out my links down below to help support the channel. I am now in partnership with Baron of Dice. They have some awesome TCG accessories like playmats, deck boxes, and dice. And if you want to level up your setup, it is the perfect way to do so. And if you want to support the channel directly and get some sweet perks, consider joining the Patreon. If you want to get early access to videos or even some deck help, Patreon is where it's at. And so without further ado, let's get back into the video. Hey, what's going on YouTube? This is Devin with Jurassic Magic, and with this video today, I'm going to go over another PlayStation exclusive Secret Lair Super Drop Commander, and that would be Jin Sakai, Ghost of Tsushima. And this is probably the one I am most unfamiliar with as far as the games go. I haven't played Ghost of Tsushima, but overall I gotta say the design of this commander and the way it looks is really cool. The art treatment is absolutely fabulous. So let's dive right into this commander and what it does. So Jin Sakai, Ghost of Tsushima, legendary creature, human samurai, which is kind of funny because he's a ghost, but technically not. He doesn't have the spirit type. There's probably something with that I don't know, but for 1 white, blue, and black, so this is an Esper color combination commander, and when he deals combat damage to a player, you draw a card. He also has another ability. Whenever a creature you control attacks a player, if no other creatures are attacking that player, you choose one. Either it gains double strike until end of turn, or it can't be blocked this turn, and he has a 2/4 body. So overall, I gotta say this design looks pretty unique. I like the fact that you have to attack with one creature alone, just kind of like a samurai would, in order to get the abilities of double strike or can't be blocked this turn. So in today's videos, I'm going to talk about a couple of subjects. I'm going to talk about staples you want to put in the deck. I'm also going to focus on support cards, and then finally I'll talk about the Voltron theme. So with that said, let's get it started and build around this commander. In a general sense, this Secret Lair does come with 4 different cards: Path to Exile, Castle Shimura, Ghostly Flicker, and Born Upon a Wind. And these aren't necessarily the best reprints. I'm going to say these are kind of lackluster compared to the rest. I mean, the art looks really good. I just wish they were different cards. Besides that point, they are still going to be in the deck because they do represent the commander, but I also wanted to go over some other staples you could put in the deck because we're an Esper color combination. There are plenty. You have great options as far as interaction goes, kind of lacking in the ramp, but that does make up for artifact ramp that you could utilize like talismans or other means. But I would say the biggest spotlight for this deck is the interaction that you could put. One of my personal favorite removal options is Void Rend. This spell can't be countered and destroy target non-land permanent because you're in the Esper color combination. This fits in the deck. I also like Anguish Unmaking. Exile target non-land permanent, you lose 3 life, so this is a similar card to Void Rend. There are plenty of options as far as counter spells go. I like 1 mana options like An Offer You Can't Refuse, Swan Song, and Strict Serenade. These kind of cover all bases, countering non-creature spells as well as countering creature spells. Of course, there's plenty of other counter spells in the deck like Dovin's Veto, but those are just some of the examples. But I would argue the most important thing in any commander deck is card draw. Of course, our commander will get us card draw when he deals combat damage, but that's just one way of getting card draw. We want multiple ways. We could use Starwinder, which is an excellent option. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you may draw that many cards. This works perfectly because if we do give a creature double strike if it's attacking alone, we get to draw cards equal to its power plus the additional cards we gained off a double strike when we deal combat damage to a player. Another interesting card would be Gregor, Shrewd Magistrate. This has Skulk, and whenever it deals combat damage to a player, draw cards equal to its power. So if you buff it up in some sort of way with some equipment, and if you attack alone with it, giving it double strike or even giving it unblockable, you're just going to be drawing that much more cards. Usually in my videos I quickly go over staples. I don't dive into them too much, mainly because I just like to go into the good stuff of the deck. Speaking of which, that is what we're going to dive into next: synergy pieces with our commander. So a funny way to play this commander is by using ninjutsu, because if you're giving a creature unblockable, you could just switch it in with something else like Nashi Moon Sage's Scion, which whenever it deals a combat damage to a player, exile the top card of each player's library. Until end of turn, you may play one of those cards. If you cast a spell this way, pay life equal to its mana value rather than paying its mana cost. This will definitely help us get free advantage. Another option I like to ninjutsu in is Silent Blade Oni. When it deals combat damage to a player, look at the player's hand, you may cast a spell from among those without paying its mana cost, so this is going to give us another advantage as far as casting free spells. I will say it's kind of funny seeing samurais working with ninjas, but you kind of get the point there. You could also get both triggers. You could get creatures unblockable as well as giving them double strike if you have some clone options like Sakashima. Both versions will work fine, as well as Spark Double. You don't want to include too much clone options, but you do want enough where you at least get 2 versions of your commander on the battlefield to give those both abilities. But I will say, because you're giving creatures unblockable or double strike, you're giving a lot of advantage as far as a Voltron strategy goes. You could add a lot of different equipment to help ensure your victory. You could include some swords. The ones I personally like is Sword of Hearth and Home, Sword of Wealth and Power, and Sword of Feast and Famine. All of these have one thing in common. All of them will give us advantage as far as mana goes. Sword of Hearth and Home will get us an extra land on the battlefield. Sword of Wealth and Power will get us a treasure token on the battlefield. And Sword of Feast and Famine will untap all our lands so that we could use them additionally. Not only that, all these cards will give us protection from their specific colors, so that is also an additional value. Other equipment I wanted to highlight are Shadow Spear and Luxodon Warhammer. I think both of these are very important for this deck because they do give our creature trample, and not only that, lifelink. Lifelink is huge because most likely people are going to swing at us in retaliation, and giving lifelink to your commander that's swinging for a huge amount of damage, whether they're getting double strike or getting unblockable, will help ensure our life total can be way up there. But if you want to give a huge amount of power to your commander or another creature you control, you could use Colossus Hammer or Excalibur Sword of Eden. Colossus Hammer is a classic staple. Equipped creature gets +10/+10 and loses flying. Giving double strike to a creature with this, or even unblockable, will probably close out the game pretty soon. And of course the same can be applied with Excalibur Sword of Eden. Giving a creature +10/+0 and vigilance could help that it swings in and it could stay behind and block. Also, if you do want to protect your commanders, there's two equipments that you could utilize, Mithril Coat and Hammer of Nazan. Each of these will enter the battlefield and give equipped creature indestructible. I personally like Mithril Coat a little bit better because it has flash and indestructible. It is hard to remove itself, though I will say more and more people are using exile based removal instead of just normal removal, so that is the one downside to these cards, is they're kind of getting power crept out of the format. But there are two equipment that'll just say straight up I win the game. One is Vorpal Sword. Equipped creature gets +2 and +0 and has death touch, and not only that, you pay 8 mana. Until end of turn, Vorpal Sword gains whenever this equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, that player loses the game, and it has equipped 2 black, so this works perfectly with our commander because our commander will gain the ability, if it's attacking alone, to gain unblockable. You swing at one unsuspecting opponent and then they lose the game. Another way to ensure victory is by using Infect. You could either use Grafted Exoskeleton, which will equip to your commander and it'll get +2/+2 and has Infect, or you could use Tainted Strike or Phryuresis, which will also give your commander Infect. But I will say not a lot of people like playing Infect because it kind of goes against the rules of commander, but I think it's fine, honestly. If it's a win con, it's a win con. But now with that said, that is going to do it for me, guys. Thank you guys so much for coming by and watching this video on Jin Sakai, Ghost of Tsushima. This commander overall is really cool. I like the strategy of it. You're attacking alone with a lone warrior. You're getting some card advantage and getting additional benefits of getting double strike, and it can't be blocked this turn. What's nice about the double strike with Jin Sakai is the fact that if you swing in, you're going to get 2 draws instead of just 1 because of that double strike ability. But I would like to hear from you. What are your thoughts and opinions about this card? Do you plan on building it yourself? What other options would you suggest for this? I'd love to hear your thoughts down below in the comments. Also, if you can, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And with that out of the way, thank you for stopping by.